Today we're talking about one of the most famous trekking peaks in Nepal, Mera Peak. And even though it's called non-technical, don't think for a second that it's going to be easy. The name is a bit deceiving because if you have little or no experience in high-altitude climbing, well, then this could be a pretty tough introduction. So today I'm giving you the full prep guide to make sure that if you do want to climb it, you're prepared. So let's get started.
Yes.
The stats on this peak are impressive. At 6,476 meters, or 21,247 feet above sea level, it stands out majestically in the Himalayas. It's the 13th highest peak in Nepal, but it's not part of the official 8,000ers list, which is why it's considered a trekking peak. But the fact that it's a non-technical peak doesn't mean that it's going to be easy or safe. So let's start with what you need to know about this climb. So the first thing that you should know is that you won't need any advanced climbing skills. That means no rock climbing or abseiling. But here's the catch. You will need some basic mountaineering gear. That includes things like crampons, ice axes, helmet, harness, and sometimes fixed ropes close to the summit. So although it's not technical, you will be crossing dangerous glaciers and climbing snow slopes, so it's important to have that knowledge. So knowing how to use your ice axes to self-arrest, so in case you fall, being able to arrest yourself knowing how to walk. Confidently on ice using crampons, which includes front pointing and also not slipping and sliding around. And also, maybe knowing how to put on your own harness and use a rope in case you need support when you're climbing. So if you've never done this before, my recommendation would always be to take a short mountaineering course. There are many options in places like Kathmandu, Pokhara, or even here in the UK. There's tons of options to learn those skills before you go. The other thing to note is that most routes don't involve any steep, scary vertical climbs. On the summit day, expect some steep slopes where you'll probably need to use some rope assistance. Also expect some long pushes on the final day, so you need to be prepared for that. And finally, remember you'll be doing all of this in freezing temperatures. So you need to be prepared for that too. But honestly, compared to the other challenges of this climb, those are the easy bits. The hardest part of climbing Mera Peak is the altitude. At over 6,000 meters, your body has to fight for every breath. Trust me, acclimatization is non-negotiable here. Altitude sickness can strike anyone, no matter how fit or experienced they are. And in such high altitudes, there's no easy way to escape it either. So now let's talk about the two main things that you need to consider to be successful in climbing Mera Peak. First off, the weather. We all know mountains and weather are unpredictable friends, so it's best to plan for the best, but prepare for the worst. In Mera's case, the best time to climb is during the spring and autumn seasons. During these times, the weather is generally more stable, making the climb safer. Spring comes with the promise of blooming rhododendrons, while autumn treats you with the spectacle of changing leaves. Both are great choices for an unforgettable experience. However, remember that even in these windows, the weather can turn on a dime. So be prepared for everything. Storms, high winds, and sudden temperature drops are all possible guests on your climb. And then there's the second big factor, the logistics. To tackle this beast, you'll need a permit. You can't just show up and start climbing. There are permits involved. Now, getting a permit is usually not too hard, but it does take a bit of preparation. These permits are issued by the Nepalese government, and you'll need to apply for them in advance. So make sure to leave enough time for that process. The good news is that the application process is straightforward. You can hire a trekking agency like I did for my Manaslu trek, which will handle the whole permit process for you. They know all the ins and outs and will ensure everything is in order. So depending on the company, it could be a seamless experience. Once you have your permit in hand, it's time to get practical. You need to choose a route. There are a few options, but the most common starts from the village of Koth. This route takes you through beautiful landscapes and offers stunning views along the way. Each step brings you closer to the majestic giants like Makalu and Everest. But remember, whichever route you pick, you'll be in for a long haul. The trek to the base camp can take around 9 days, giving you time to soak in the scenery. And once at the base camp, you'll spend a couple of days acclimatizing before you make your final push. So overall, plan for about 12 to 14 days for the entire climb. Now here's another important tip. You don't want to be caught off guard. When it comes to food and supplies, food is an important part of your success on Mera Peak. High-altitude climbing is tough, and you need plenty of energy to keep going. The great news is that most of the supplies, including food, can be arranged through local providers. So from Koth Village, you can find shops that sell everything from snacks to freeze-dried meals. Just make sure to check with your trekking agency about what exactly you can get there, and what you might need to carry up from Kathmandu. Your guides will play a crucial role here. They know the route well, and will advise you on what to bring and what to buy on the way. Remember, you're in for a long haul, and your body needs top-notch fuel, so don't cut corners with low-quality food. You can also ask your agency to arrange a porter to carry your equipment and supplies. This is especially helpful considering you'll be walking for long hours each day. It's important to distribute your load wisely, and porters are there to help with that. Plus, hiring a porter is not only practical, it's also a great way to support the local community. As for your gear, it's crucial to have the right stuff. This is not the time to experiment with cheap or low-quality equipment. So if you're new to mountaineering, you might want to consider renting some of the specialized gear like crampons and ice axes. There are rental shops available in Kathmandu where you can find reasonably priced options. This way you do, and have to invest a lot of money up front. If you not sure if you really into this sport, but if you do decide to invest in your own gear, make sure you buy quality. Your safety depends on it. And if you want me to cover the exact list of equipment that you'll need for this hike, please let me know in the comments below. Finally, don't overlook the importance of hiring a guide and joining a small group. A good guide is your lifeline on a climb like Mera Peak. They know the mountain's moods and can read the weather better than anyone. Plus, they're trained to handle emergencies. Having a guide is not just about safety, it's about having someone who knows the route, can navigate through whiteouts, and most importantly, can spot signs of altitude sickness in you and the others, and make sure everyone stays safe. Joining a small group also gives you an advantage. Firstly, it's safer. There's strength in numbers, especially in such a remote place. Secondly, you can share experiences, stories, and, well, the occasional hot drink around the tent. Climbing alone can be lonely and at times dangerous, but in a small group, you've got camaraderie to keep you going. The shared struggle, the laughter, and the high fives at the end of the day. All of that adds to the adventure. It's not just about reaching the summit, it's about the journey and the people you share it with. Climbing Mera Peak is a bucket list adventure, but it's not for the faint of heart. The thin air, the biting cold, the long treks, it all tests you at every step. But standing on the summit, watching the world shrink beneath you, that moment, that feeling, it's all worth it. So if you're ready to test your limits, to stand toe-to-toe with the mighty Himalayas, then maybe Mera Peak is calling your name. Okay, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. And also let me know in the comments if you have any questions or anything that I have uncovered here, and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.